What I'm going to try to tell in today's session was how can we use AI and ML, and what is AI and ML? In present days, we are using a lot of applications or a lot of techniques where we are going with interaction part. The part of it is where AI and ML can change our day-to-day process or our day-to-day life in different aspects. So uh, that's where we are going to approach, or how can we approach in a particular technique or in a particular method, um, and how can we use this particular technique into our lives. So a brief introduction on me. My name is Sarvesh, and have got around 10 years of experience into IT, where I'll deal with software quality engineering and DevOps. So I provide the test automation frameworks for the yeah, got it. Frameworks for software enterprises. So this is a brief introduction about me, and let's dive into the concepts of AI and ML. Uh, Give me a minute.
Hi everyone, sorry, we're having some technical issues. So we're working on getting them resolved.
Uh, Hello everyone. Sorry for disturbances. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So,
So particularly, sorry for that. Let's dive into this artificial intelligence and use of ML in our day-to-day life, and how can we, just make sure that by using all those techniques, how can we make sure our the results or our experiments, how can we make more accurate into it? So first of all, let's all of us know what is artificial intelligence. So it's not to be in simple words. It should be like a mimicking the human intelligence actually. Where it will act as a human and it will try to learn, or it will try to give itself the reasoning part of it and self-correct it. So this is the same thing that how human mind works. So and how can it give the reasoning part of it? So it's all about how human mind works. So let's compare the human mind and the artificial intelligence. So if the human mind thinks any of the concept or any of the, or if you're thinking about any of the dream or something like that, so how the human mind works. So maybe you are into the dream or you are the third person into the dream. So, whenever the human mind is thinking on a step-by-step process, it may correlates to many other things. And in the same way, the artificial intelligence, how it can be correlate. So by learning, by how it can how it can learn by itself. So when we are trying to input lot of data, so the data will be correlated with multiple algorithms. Algorithm is nothing but a technique, or we can say in short form, how the mind works with a number of neurons in our human mind. So each and everything will be correlated, or it will give the reasoning to it, and then it will self-learn it. So when I say self-learn, how it can learn? So by the same way where we are going to input the data, so once we are giving that lot of data, then it'll divide into a smaller parts of it where the algorithms will come into the picture, and then each and every algorithm can um, go with can go with a particular patterns. So where the patterns will drawn from the data. And again, when I say learn, the subset of the artificial intelligence is machine learning. So machine learning is nothing but it will, we have to give the data, and according to the data it will draw the patterns where it can analyze the data in a more accurate way. Let's say 10x to the human mind. So where it can go with whatever the data that we have given, each and every particle or each and every point of data that we are giving to the particular technique or particular system, right? So that system will analyze, will self-correct it if there are any improvisations that can be done, or it can go with uh, many of the training. So trainings. So when we come to part of models and training, so each and every data has a model, or we can say that every model has different set of data. Okay, so this part of different set of data can be analyzed or can be trained under particular programming part, where this algorithm will be again coming into the picture, and it will analyze each and everything. And the next part of this is all about learning the data, or giving the reasoning part of it, right? So in such a way that with this particular learning, or with this particular reasoning part of the data, what it can do, or how can we make sure that this particular data can be helpful, or it can give the results out of it, or we can retrieve the results out of it. So that's where the prediction and inference comes. So prediction is nothing but, so the form of the data that which we are giving to the artificial intelligence, or let's say the system, right? If each and every part of data is analyzed, and when we are trying to put the put the data into different patterns or different algorithms, from those part of algorithms we can retrieve whatever the results that we wanted. So for suppose, for example, we can go with any of the weather forecasting app, or any of the or any other data that we use, any other app that we use day to day life, like something like, if you go to YouTube, if you see couple of videos in the same couple of videos are related to the same thing, so in the next feed you will get the same sort of videos. That's the algorithm behind it. So, or if you go to any Instagram app, and if you like some photos or whatever it is, so then in the next coming feed, or when you reload the app, the algorithm behind it makes you that to visit the same photos or same ads again and again, as because you liked it, or you just have that concentration when you liked, or when you comment, or when you reshare it, the amount of the data that algorithm analyzes. So for suppose, let's say, if you like any of the thing or any of the ad, that will go to the 10 points, let's say example. And if you comment on that particular post, or comment on the particular ad, that will go with 20 points. So that's how the basic algorithm will enhances itself, or learn the data as you are giving. So that's where we can go with multiple applications. So as I said, as the best example, as in the day-to-day life, we might be using Instagram and all, or Facebook or whatever. So in the same way, so if we want to solve any problem, or if we want to make sure that any of the problem has to be resolved, or any of the problem can be rectified, so the data we need is altogether what creates the problem, or what happens when the problem is occurred. So that's where we have to analyze, and we have to give it to the system, or we have input whatever the data we have got, and then let the algorithm do it work, and where we have to make sure that the algorithm has been programmed in such a way that it can analyze just the data. So making sure each and everything can be, you know, each and every input or each and every data point that we are giving can be modelized, and it can be trained under different algorithms, and hence we can retrieve the accurate or the particular results, that we can make sure that those results are apt and correct to the present environment or going with the present trends. So this is all about the introduction part of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and how can we use it through different steps of processes, right? So I hope there are no doubts or any other doubts. You can just unmute yourself and you can ask. Uh, as I'm sharing my screen, I will be not be able to see the list of participants, but yeah, let's go to the second slide. I mean the next part of it. So particularly, let's say if you are going for an hackathon, so as it is the next point of thing is that if you are going for a hackathon and if you are presenting our project, so why this particular concept, whether it is artificial intelligence, why it is useful in our projects, or how can it be used in our projects? So once if you are going with sorry. So, yeah, this has been screen shared, Ayan. Not sure. Uh, I'm moving my slides. Can you see that?
For me, it shows you're still on slide 3. Does everyone else see a different slide?
I see slide 3 as well.
Same.
Yeah, I see slide 3.
Okay, let me stop this. Okay, let me stop it and screen share it. Can you see a different screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks guys, thank you. So as I'm saying, right, how can we use this particular thing in our projects or in our upcoming thing? So once suppose if you're doing any project, right? So to solve the real world problems, or to make sure how can it be there, or how can it be used, we have to make sure each and every data point as we are giving. So the main input that we can give is that all what we have got in form of the data, right? So once if you give that particular data into that particular system, and it the algorithm behind it, or the programming thing that we have to go with is like that particular algorithm has to be updated according to the present trends. So if it is not getting updated, or basically it has its own self-learning capability, but we have to cross-check in couple of ways, or in couple of other systems, when comparing with other systems, whether it is still relevant to the present situation or not, or present trend or not. So in process of this using, or in process of this applying artificial intelligence to our day-to-day life, so we might end up innovating or inventing some other things that we are not aware of, and then where we'll get to know how it can be used from a day-to-day life, right? So for suppose if you want to make sure that uh, how can a particular thing can be used, or how can we can use that particular data into a particular pattern, and then we can go ahead with what we can go ahead with that pattern, and we can retrieve the results out of it. In the same way, to use this particular artificial intelligence, we have to upgrade ourselves, and we can be exposed to some other tools or some other technologies which we are not aware about, right? So particularly if you are going with any of the previous technology, for suppose in the particular program, in most of the time in the present situation, it will be going with, if you say the programming language, it can be go with different languages, like, so whether it is a C language or Java program or Python. So particularly for artificial intelligence, as per the industry standard, right? So we are going with the Python, and within the Python there will be different frameworks where we can go ahead with maybe for each and every type of application or each and every type of project. Yeah, so each and every type of project, we have to implement a different type of framework, and different, obviously the whole process will be different. But first of all, if you have to set out the creativity part of it, right? So how can we make sure that our project or whatever the work that we are doing, how can it be more creative, just by making a small here and small changes, or just by implementing small modifications to our project and using of this artificial intelligence techniques, we can make sure that our project is much more creative, or our work is much more creative, and it really solves the real the problem statement, or what I can say is that it really gives the solution to the problem what we are facing, right? And in the same way, how can we boost the skills? Like, obviously it's on a day-to-day life process where we have to learn ourselves. It's not only, so to use artificial intelligence, we have to upgrade ourselves with all other present trend of technologies, that by doing the things or by just experimenting the experimenting the projects on whatever you like in a way. And to basically, on a particular extent, as you're very new to artificial intelligence, so increasing in employability, obviously, because this, but by using artificial intelligence, the technique that what we are using, or the process that what we are going through, will be giving much more productive things or productive output, I would say. So where we can, in that accordingly, the because of the productive output or productive productive things at the same time, in within much lesser time than what human can do, in that way we can increase our employability skills, or we can just make sure that why you are so special than other candidates when we are comparing. So you have these, and we have, so you have particular skills that where you can excel in your field and bring output by end of the day. So that's how it is. So this is all about how it is useful, or how it can be used in a day-to-day life, or in our just whatever the way that we are working on. So particularly on applications, when you say the application point of side, or how can we apply in a different way. So for suppose, if you are going with any of the, so let's take an example with the present trend of converting our actual images into an animation part. So where it is called some Ghibli style or anime or whatever it is. So how the system can recognize the facial part of it. So when you say the system has to recognize the facial part of it, so let's say the basically it's an human and computer interaction. So where we'll call it as computer vision, where the particular system particular system is able to going through the facial recognizers. So it basically how it'll identify images, right? So whenever we upload any image, the vision goes through the process of recognizing whatever the classification of it, or the maybe if there are any objects within the photo, that will detect the object as well. And facial recognition. So facial recognition will go through, I mean, the if you have to how it can be recognized, or how it can recognize the facial part of it or the facial movements of it, it will go with particular number of invisible nodes. So nodes is nothing but maybe you can call it as a dot to understand particularly, where each and every dot will be correlating with other dot. So it will be it will have thousands or lakhs of nodes on a particular face if you are uploading any of the image, and in the same way it will relate to the object detection as well. So each and every node will correlate with other node, and then each and every set of nodes will correlate with other set of nodes. So that's how the facial recognition will be happening. And then what if we have to convert into, so let's say if we are converting that particular photo into anime, so that the system will has an algorithm where the algorithm has to be programmed or reprogrammed in such a way that it will correlate with another animation photos, and it will try to retrieve what's the outline or the or how the photo should be appeared. It will correlate with it, and it will learn according to the data that what we have given, and then it will give the output by comparing each and every particular concept or each and every particular data point by one-to-one matching or one-to-many matching. So that's where the all this computer vision goes part of it. And then in the same way it'll make sure it is the same case with object detection as well. So let's say if you are uploading any of the object instead of a human face, or any other human face or any other animal face, if you are uploading any of the object, how it can recognize? Again, it's the same way, where it will map from one node to another node, and one set of nodes to another set of nodes, and it will compare. And if you are trying to convert that particular object photo into anime part, or any other form of image, we have to give that the other form of image as well, or you have to give the data point to the system, and then it analyzes it, it self learns, or it will upgrade itself by using whatever the patterns or the behind the algorithms behind it, and then it will give the data out of it. So that's where this computer vision comes into the picture. So we can apply this particular computer vision in our day-to-day life, where if you are attending, or if you have got any biometric access or something like that, it's not only the vision part of it, but it's also it can recognize as the uh, fingerprints or whatever it is. So it's again, when we keep our fingerprints, it will relate to the number of nodes, one set of nodes to another set of nodes, and it will compare, it will try to grab all the fingerprint in the form of a nodes, and that itself gives the data to the system, and then that's where we can make sure that the biometric thing can be done, or it can be applied in our day-to-day life, whenever we are attending to any of the events, or if you have got any safe lockers that needs to be done with a biometric access. That's where we can use all this type of different patterns or different algorithms, I would say, within our these applications. And coming to part of natural language processing, right? So in the short form, we'll call it as NLP, where it has got it's nothing but the natural language, how the humans will use the language naturally when we are asking any questions, or when we are trying to clarify our doubts. So in the form of a simple chatbot, or or we can make sure that if we are going through a number of pages of PDF, where any PDF which has got many number of pages, and we have to just make sure that we have to get the summary out of it, or we have to retrieve a summary paragraph out of a lot of text or any paragraphs. That's where this particular natural language processing comes into the picture, and where we can apply. And the algorithm behind it is, it'll as I said, if we are going with a lot of paragraphs or the data, how can it analyzes? So basically, when we are giving many number of lot of data to particular system, and then where we are going with particular what I would say is like any particular concept, when we have to analyze each and every paragraph. That's where we can go with number of comparisons, or number of patterns behind the system, where the algorithm deals with it. And then it'll go in the form of a funnel process, where it'll analyze us step by step, and then it'll retrieve as the gist of the data, or the summary of the data. And in the same way, chatbots, so when we come to the part of chatbots, it's just we can just build up with an a small FAQs, FAQ chatbot, or just a process chatbot, where if you are giving one data, it will analyze that one data point, and then accordingly it will ask some other questions following up. And then again, by if you are giving any other input to the system, and accordingly it will try to give the apt result or apt answer to the data, to the input that what we have given. That's where the chatbots works, or how this can be applied in a particular process. So this is all about natural language processing. And if we come to predictive analytics, so predictive analytics is nothing but it's just an forecasting, or what I can say is like not guessing, but according to the data, it will give the analytics part of it, or how the data has been differed in different industries, or in different ways. How can this data can be there used, and how can we can retrieve that particular data out of a particular date particular how can we retrieve particular results out of the data, right? So as it's termed as predictive, it's just a guessing part of it. But if you are giving the apt data, or the correct data what we have got, then accordingly the accuracy will be increased according to the input of data that we are giving. And this is all about predictive analytics, where we can make sure that how can the data, or how can the result part of, how can we deal with the result by getting the result, or by giving the input data what we are having, and by getting the result, and how the result can be relevant to the present trends. That's where it is. And this is all about the behind, all about the where we are dealing with the data. But if we want to implement the actions with the data, So particularly that's where robotics comes into the picture. And once the particular once if we are setting up particular data, or if we are setting up particular things um, in a process, and that process goes to the robotics, that's where the mechanical part of that's where the mechanic sorry that's where the mechanical part will be playing the role, where if we automate something, or if we give all this process to a robot, and once if you are giving the instructions to robot, that's where we can make sure that whatever the automation or whatever the task that we have given to the robot should do in a particular way on a step by step process. That's where the human and robot interaction happens. This is all about different basically on a basis of popular applications or famous applications, how can we use this particular artificial intelligence and machine learning in particular applications with a particular process or set of processes, I would say. So before going to next slide, do we have any other doubts or any other clarifications? Okay. Uh, Sorry. So till now, we have come to know, or we have discussed how can it how it can be used and how it can be implemented. So to implement all these things, to implement the processes, or to implement the algorithms, right? What are the tools that we can use, or what are the frameworks, as I said? So in present industry standard, if we come to a programming language that what we can use, to develop any algorithm, so we can go with Python. And what would be the uh, analysis part of it, or to analyze any set of data that we are giving, what that particular algorithm has to go through, or it will go through, is something like statistical analysis. So basically these are the very basic points that what we are going through. But if you deep dive into particular concept, it'll has lot of another correlated concepts where we have to go through. But as of now, we can go with these are the basic or I would say the foundational points to start off with, and then we can go ahead with the deep dive part of it. So these are the programming language, basic programming languages. And if we have to go with a particular framework, or particular if we have to build up any of the application, it has to we have to go with a particular set of frameworks. So these are the examples of particular frameworks where we can bring out the results, most of it, or most appropriate results. So something like it's like a TensorFlow and Keras or PyTorch. These are the different frameworks, that's it. And where the basic point is like we'll be going with the programming language called Python. And where these can be learned, or where these can be implemented, so in the as part of the present industry standard, we are going with most of the cloud platforms like AWS or Microsoft Azure or Google. So these are the basic examples, or not yeah, these are the basic examples where we can start off with. And then according to the project that we opt, or according to the problem statement that we wanted to clarify or we wanted to solve it. According to that, we have to change or we have to upgrade the frameworks, or we have to upgrade we have to divert to another cloud platforms as well, as per the availability. So this is just a part of how it can be implemented, or with using number of various tools and various programming languages. So as I said, so till now we have discussed what is it and how it can be implemented, or how it can be um, how it can be developed. But what would be the start off, or where we can start? So each and everything has to be started with one point, or any point. So if we go with a normal or particular problem statements, these would be the problem statements that we where we can go with, and how it can be how we can solve our problem statements, or how we can solve the real time problems in the current trend, right? So it's just a set of step by step process where we have where we can go with image classification and sentiment analysis, where we'll have to analyze the text, or it's not only the text, but what happens is like the emotion behind the text as well, the emotional tone we can say, or the emotion so if we are commenting any of the post, so it'll analyze, or if we have to analyze it, and we have to make sure that what the feedback we have got from the people, or from the party, from the audience. So if we want, if the system has to analyze it, it has to analyze the emotional tone of it as well. So that's where, for suppose, as per the latest trend, if you go with Grok AI, right? So Grok AI, in whatever the emotional tone that we ask to it, it will respond in the same way. Or you can say it as a any of the AI part of it. So as part of example, I'm going with Grok, or you can test with any of the AI. So in the same way, we can go with a simple chatbot. So for suppose, you can say you can see many of the websites will have FAQs. So where it'll go with the question and answer. And in the same way, nowadays we can see many of the chatbots where we can see where we can ask our questions, or where we can you know um, um, not only questions, or maybe you can say it as instructions or precautions or whatever it is. So most of the time we'll be having we'll be seeing the chatbots with a question, where it can clarify our doubt, where we are asking a question and it's giving the answer according to it. And then it's again a loop process, where each and every question has got it'll sometimes it might be giving the apt answer, or sometimes if the our question is not clear, then it will be going with some multiple answers maybe, or a list of answers. So that's where we can go with a simple chatbot to make sure to understand to make understand what our concept is, or what our you know what is our problem statement is going to say, right? uh, and regression models is nothing but, as I said, as we discussed previously, there will be number of patterns, or number of if the data has to analyze, it has to go through number of models, where it will just try to analyze it and make sure that the data or the result that what it is giving, it will make sure that it is more apt or relevant to particular problem, or to particular application that what we have implemented. So this is all about where we can getting started with a simple projects. And this particular slide goes with any of the learning part of it, where some online courses or the documentation part of the courses, or for suppose if you want to analyze the data, you might not have the data, so you can go with any of the Kaggle data sets. That's a platform where it will go with many of the a lot of data can be retrieve out of that website, and we can just make use of that particular data to our projects. That's where it is. And how can we start, or how can we implement, or how can we make sure that by implementing it, what we have to, or in which way we have to do it, something like that. Maybe you can go with, after implementing all these techniques, you might get a feedback from any of your friends, or any of the experts, where they can analyze your project, and whether it is solving the particular problem, or whatever the solution that we have given, whether the solution is apt or not. We can get the feedback from other people, and that's where, according to the feedback, we can do a lot of other experiments to make sure that each and every solution what that we are coming out with, whether it is an or the app to the, or it is giving a particular the correct solution to that particular problem, right? So that's where it is. And this is all about the introduction part of AI and ML, and how can we use in the day-to-day life. So, or in our, make sure that what is the problem statement, and according to that, where we can uh, use, or where we can implement, and how can we implement it.